Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Happy Word Crafter. I'm Sandra Conner, of course, and today I'd like to share another episode of Speaking as a Writer with you. I so enjoy sharing my thoughts and feelings and experiences as a writer of novels, short stories, poetry, nonfiction essays, devotionals, Bible studies, you name it, I've probably written it at one time or another. I also spent several years as a newspaper reporter and columnist, and I enjoyed every year I worked in those fields as well. But today, I thought I'd share about an interesting, but in my opinion, sad phenomenon that has come about in the publishing world during the past couple decades. In that time, almost all fiction authors and/or publishing houses have started leaving out the words "the end" on the last page of novels. It's now become passé, I suppose, and possibly even unsophisticated in some people's minds, to write those two iconic little words below the last paragraph of a story. It's sad. I've been an avid reader all my life. My earliest happy memories involve reading stories and having them read to me, and I started writing my own in elementary school. In fact, I wrote my first full-length play in the 6th grade. I get totally immersed in the books I read. I can pass hours and even go without food, even chocolate and coffee, once I get entrenched in a story. I love the experiences that I get to live with the characters, laughing with them, crying with them, loving with them, fighting with them, and rejoicing in the final resolution of the climax in their favor. Now, perhaps I should offer a side note here and explain that I do not read stories where the main characters end up defeated. Now, if that's your cup of tea, you can drink it, but I can't imagine stories like that not giving you indigestion. Of course, I'm not insistent on everything and everyone in the stories living a Pollyannish existence. Even in the stories that I write, there are some plots that do require some of the characters to undergo experiences that we might not consider exactly happy. I do deal with real-life issues in the novels and the short stories that I write. But overall, I believe that stories should end at least on a note of rest for the reader, leaving him with a feeling that everything has transpired in the best possible way for the hero and heroine, given the circumstances of the story. But when I'm reading a story and come to the end, I'm generally so much involved that I need closure in order to let them go and move on. Those two little words, "the end," have always given me that closure. Now, many have been the times when I hated to see them come. I didn't want the story to end, and I would have pushed those words forward for another 20 pages or so at least. But eventually, all good stories have to reach their resolution, and when they do, I've always found a quiet acceptance and even a serene pleasure in reading those closing words. I can't begin to count the times I've leaned back after reading "the end," closed my eyes, taken a slow, deep breath, and relished the fact that all was resolved and every loose end securely tucked away. Those two little words close a story and let me know that it's all right to let those characters go and move on to the next story, the next adventure, the next romance, the next journey. Yes, I know that any reader of average intelligence is able to figure out that if there is no more text between the covers of the book, then the story has come to an end, of course. But that doesn't satisfy me at all. Somehow, those two words typed onto the page just make the reading experience complete, and finishing a story without them is not the same. Now, perhaps I'm the only one who feels that way. I don't know. It's not a subject I've discussed with other writers or readers, and maybe that's why I'm bringing it up to you. it's something that touches me powerfully enough that I continue to type the words "the end" at the completion of every novel that I write. And I will continue to do so from now on. The publisher that I've worked with for years is in agreement with me. And of course, any books that I publish through Amazon or Barnes & Noble don't require my considering anyone else's opinion. So whichever publishing route I use, I'm free to do as I please about the subject. And what pleases me is to be able to say to my readers, in effect, well, now we have come to the distance together in this story. Thank you for sharing it with me. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. We've resolved the problems for the hero and the heroine, and they are satisfied and secure. I've taken great care to leave you in a good place, and all is well. That sounds like a lot, but frankly, I believe I can say all of that to my readers with the quintessential conclusion, the end. Now, let me know what you think. As I said earlier, I haven't really discussed this much with any other writers or with readers. So please drop down to the comment section and leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. Does it matter to you if you have the words "the end" on the last page of a story? What do you think as a reader? What do you think as a fellow writer? I'd really like to know. Thanks so much for visiting with me today, and thank you for commenting. Please be sure and hit that like button if you possibly can. And if you haven't subscribed, do that. Hit the bell. That way you'll know every time we put something new up here. Thanks so much for visiting. Please come next time. Until we meet again, I bid you adieu, and I look forward to sharing with you soon on another episode. Bye for now.